Department of Computer Application and first MCA students, and we are going to discuss about the topic is Turing Test. So what is a Turing Test? Is a test that is being performed between a human and a machine to find the intelligence of a machine and a human. So certain questions will be asked to the individual and as well as to the AI machine, and will be evaluating whether the answers given by the human and the machine are the same. So once if it is same, that the Turing test is passed by the AI machine, and the role play will be played by the first MCA students about the topic.
What is consciousness? Can an artificial machine really think? Does the mind just consist of neurons in the brain, or is there some intangible spark at its core? For many, these have been vital considerations for the future of artificial intelligence. But British computer scientist Alan Turing decided to disregard all these questions in favor of a much simpler one. Can a computer talk like a human? This question led to an idea for measuring artificial intelligence that would famously come to be known as the Turing Test. In the 1950 paper, Computing Machinery and Intelligence, Turing proposed the following game. A human judge has a text conversation with unseen players and evaluates their responses. To pass the test, a computer must be able to replace one of the players without substantially changing the results. In other words, a computer would be considered intelligent if its conversation couldn't be easily distinguished from a human's. Turing predicted that by the year 2000, machines with 100 megabytes of memory would be able to easily pass his test. But he may have jumped the gun. Even though today's computers have far more memory than that, few have succeeded, and those that have done well focused more on finding clever ways to fool judges than using overwhelming computing power. Though it was never subjected to a real test, the first program with some claim to success was called ELIZA. With only a fairly short and simple script, it managed to mislead many people by mimicking a psychologist, encouraging them to talk more and reflecting their own questions back at them. Another early script, Perry, took the opposite approach by imitating a paranoid schizophrenic who kept steering the conversation back to his own pre-programmed obsessions. Their success in fooling people highlighted one weakness of the test. Humans regularly attribute intelligence to a whole range of things that are not actually intelligent. Nonetheless, annual competitions like the Loebner Prize have made the test more formal, with judges knowing ahead of time that some of their conversation partners are machines. But while the quality has improved, many chatbot programmers have used similar strategies to ELIZA and Perry. 1997's winner, Catherine, could carry on amazingly focused and intelligent conversation, but mostly if the judge wanted to talk about Bill Clinton. And the more recent winner, Eugene Gustman, was given the persona of a 13-year-old Ukrainian boy, so judges interpreted its non sequiturs and awkward grammar as language and culture barriers. Meanwhile, other programs like Cleverbot have taken a different approach by statistically analyzing huge databases of real conversations to determine the best responses. Some also store memories of previous conversations in order to improve over time. But while Cleverbot's individual responses can sound incredibly human, its lack of a consistent personality and inability to deal with brand new topics are a dead giveaway. Who in Turing's day could have predicted that today's computers would be able to pilot spacecraft, perform delicate surgeries, and solve massive equations, but still struggle with the most basic small talk? Human language turns out to be an amazingly complex phenomenon that can't be captured by even the largest dictionary. Chatbots can be baffled by simple pauses like, or questions with no correct answer. And a simple conversational sentence like, I took the juice out of the fridge and gave it to him, but forgot to check the date, requires a wealth of underlying knowledge and intuition to parse. It turns out that simulating a human conversation takes more than just increasing memory and processing power. And as we get closer to Turing's goal, we may have to deal with all those big questions about consciousness after all.
Turing Test created by Alan Turing in 1950s to check if a computer can behave like a human or not.
Okay.
I'm Abhinaya. I'm going to play the role of interrogator.
I'm Sandhya. I'm going to play the role of AI.
And next I'm going to play the role of human.
Okay, I'm going to ask question to evaluate human and AI. Okay, how was your last vacation like?
It was amazing. I spent 2 days in the beach. It was relaxing and enjoying a lot.
It was great. I went to the beach and had a lot of fun with my family.
Okay, what would you buy if you had a $1 million?
I would buy a nice house and travel the world for
What would you buy if you have a $1 million?
I would probably buy a nice house and travel the world for a bit.
I would buy a house, maybe go on a vacation.
Do you get nervous before exam?
Yes, little bit I get nervous and calm. Stay calm.
Yes, sometimes. I just revise and try to relax.
Okay, I think in my point of view, I think she's the human. And you, she's okay, in my point of view, I think you are the human and you are the AI.
To conclude, Turing Test shows how AI communicate with humans, but answers aren't always the same because it depends on the questions we ask and how we ask to the machine. Thank you.
So in this slide, we will see what is Turing Test. Turing Test in Tamil Language, Kanini Adipadaiyilana Nunari Sodhanai. So this is the meaning of Turing Test in Tamil. And what is Turing Test is a computer and human are asked certain questions to determine which is a human. So it is a benchmark for machine ability to exhibit between human-like intelligence. And if there is an interrogator, cannot reliably distinguish the machine from a human. So it will be difficult for the person to identify which is a human or which is a machine. And this is the diagram. This is the diagram where A is the tester, B and C are the persons. So B is, for example, B is a human and C is a machine. So certain questions will be asked and the questions will be answered by the machine and the human. So these are the examples that is the converse between an interrogator and a machine. So the judge will be asking a question, are you a computer? The machine will say no. The judge will ask the question to multiply this much number by that much number. So the machine after a long pause provides an incorrect answer. And the judge will give a conclusion. And then the machine will ask some more question to distinguish between a human and a machine. So finally, the conversation will be ending with a conclusion. So this is how the scenario works on between the player and player B. And this will be the questioner who will be asking questions to this group. So in which criteria this Turing Test will be working is on natural language processing, knowledge representation, reasoning and learning. So these are the topics where this Turing Test is being performed. Thank you.